Hi, I'm Les Unfordorben, CEO of AusPath Agency. Together with my esteemed cousin Frank Unfordorben, our Managing Director, we co-founded AusPath, driven by a pressing need, the shortage of skilled nurses in Australia. In the heart of this challenge, we recognise the urgency to act. The aged care sector in Australia is facing a shortfall of nearly 140,000 workers by 2025, with 30 to 35,000 nurses needed each year, according to CEDA. Through our thorough research and discovery, we found that on the other side of the world, numerous talented international nurses dreamt of contributing to Australia's healthcare. However, the path to AHPRA registration was riddled with complexities and barriers, making it impossible for many to consider Australia as a career option. That's where AusPath stepped in. We streamlined the AHPRA registration process, offering a faster and cost-effective journey for international nurses. Our transitional pathway not only simplifies AHPRA registration, but also navigates the complexities of visa requirements, including DAMA and company-specific labour agreements. This streamlined approach ensures international nurses can start their Australian nursing career without unnecessary delays. Our strategic process helps navigate the complex process all the way through to selecting the most appropriate visa. This helps to ensure longevity and dedication from employees for healthcare organisations, leading to permanent residency for employees and retention for employers. Navigating this process correctly will ensure success, but getting it wrong can lead to a disaster. That's why you need an experienced team that knows the process thoroughly, all the ins and outs. The last thing employers want is to go through the whole recruitment and migration process only to have the employees leave after a short time. We also developed an intuitive online portal that connects nurses with employers, seamlessly making the entire process streamlined and efficient. Our approach isn't just efficient, it's also financially empowering. AusPath optimises the costs associated with AHPRA registration, enabling nurses to pursue their dreams without financial burdens. With AusPath, international nurses don't just navigate registration, they embark upon a transformative journey. Our pathway enriches careers, ensuring dedicated professionals for employers and fulfilling careers for nurses. Our collaborations with industry leaders like IPASS Processing, LeeCare Solutions, AusNed, Migration ensure a constant supply of the world's most dedicated nurses. These partnerships provide our candidates with the best training, resources and support, making them highly sought after professionals. For employers, compliance is crucial, especially in aged care, where the new 24/7 registered nurses and care minutes requirements demand careful attention. AusPath not only meets these staffing needs, but also tackles compliance obligations head on. Our nurses fulfil all employer requirements, easing the burden on training and ensuring quality care delivery. They seek permanent residency and career advancement, making them valuable long-term assets for any organisation. So join hands with AusPath today and be part of a movement that revolutionises healthcare staffing, enhances patient care, empowers careers and fosters global alliances. So register with AusPath now at www.auspath.agency and transform challenges into opportunities.
Hi, good afternoon to all our live viewers now here in Facebook. We are live via AusPath Agency's Facebook page. And I'd like to welcome everybody who are with us today for this very important session where we are going to talk about the allied health pathways and opportunities. So welcome everyone to our webinar here in AusPath, the only platform providing the wealth of information on how you can progress on your healthcare professional career in Australia. So in our sessions, we share valuable information that will help you plan, prepare, and succeed as a medical professional in Australia. By the way, I'm Rachel. I'm your host in this webinar. And along with me are my co-hosts, our CEO, Mr. Les Unfordorben, and our Managing Director, Frank Unfordorben. I am thrilled to welcome you all in today's webinar. So we have an exciting session lined up where we will share the latest updates for the allied health pathways. And we will be more than grateful if all of you can be able to share this webinar on your Facebook, for this Facebook Live, so that your friends and your colleagues who are also allied professionals can be able to join us in our session. So feel free to tag your friends through our comment section or share this live session and make it public in your Facebook account. And our objective is to reach as many as much healthcare professionals so that they can be able to use this information as they're going to step up on their career in Australia. Now, I will turn you over now to our Managing Director, Mr. Frank Anfer-Darbin, who will provide us the most recent updates regarding the occupational therapists, speech pathologists, physiotherapists. Over to you, Frank.
Thanks, Rachel. We'll just get you to present the PowerPoint for us there. So this is a special presentation that we're doing today. So obviously, AusPath, we do a lot of work there with international nurses coming into Australia and carers that are coming as carers to nurses on our transitional pathway. However, not a lot of people know that we are also very active in the Australian healthcare framework with allied health professionals, especially occupational therapists, physiotherapists and speech pathologists, amongst other allied health professionals today in the market today as well. So the information that I'm going to give you today is based upon what the changes are going to be happening with AHPRA that have happened since July this year and also just as recently as the 27th of October. So just in the last couple of days as well. There has been a trend to have the government has decided to go through the AHPRA being the Australian Health Professionals Registration Body of Australia, rather than having the actual professions self-govern. Why would they do that? Well, the main reason there is they're wanting to try to have a streamlined approach to actually increase the efficiencies of the visa processing for overseas international sponsorship. And that's more and more becoming prevalent, especially in the regional areas of Australia outside of Australia, Australian capital cities, I should say. Now, in Australia, that doesn't mean it's a regional province like that where you would see out in the Visayas or something like that in the Philippines. Regional and rural Australia is still very much a built-up area. Generally speaking, most people in Australia will actually commute to work. Sometimes an hour and a half, that's not uncommon. However, whereas if you, say, come from Manila, for example, in the Philippines, an hour and a half drive may just be the difference from going to Makati to Quezon City on most days in traffic. In Australia, you might be driving 100 kilometres or more, but that's because of the differences in population density. So it's still a very built up area and the opportunities are very, very great in Australia. So who is AusPath? For those who are new to our webinars out there, AusPath is an Australian family-oriented business. We have over 50 years of experience in healthcare in Australia, and we do know the Australian healthcare framework inside and out. AusPath are an onboarding service, and we're connected to over 800 aged care health services organisations across 7 countries, actually. 6 different countries there. It's actually 7. And we guide you every step of the way for your journey, your pathway to come for employment in Australia. We do have comprehensive support service in the Philippines, but we do cater for everyone worldwide, especially for allied health. We do have candidates coming in from the UK, from Singapore, Hong Kong, New Zealand, Canada, US, and through the subcontinent as well. What differentiates AusPath a little bit different than most other companies in there is that we are also committed to pastoral care of candidates. So pre and post deployment and then ongoing, we actually manage your expectations as a candidate coming to look for employment in Australia. We help you through just doing the basic things into settling into Australia's way of life. So it's very important that you are comfortable and you know all the information that is required so that you can settle in to your work, especially through the most important crucial probation period, the first 6 months of your employment. And that also manages your expectations, not just for you, but for your family as well, if you're wanting to bring family and your intention is to eventually have permanent residency in Australia. One of the most important things for Australian employers is that they're looking for candidates to be presented to them that are looking for permanent residency. It means that you're committed, and it means for that employer there is retention. They don't want someone that's just going to be coming in for 1 or 2 years. They're wanting someone then there for the long term. AusPath in the Philippines, working in the Philippines, we are one of the only companies that is fully accredited to work with the Migrant Workers Office in Canberra, as well as the Department of Migrant Workers in the Philippines. All right, so we're working with manpower agencies as well on the ground in the Philippines under an accreditation process. So we're very proud of that. The benefit to you, the candidate looking to come to Australia, is that it can be as little as 1/3 of the expected cost to get your overseas employment certificate. And we also streamline the pathways so that it is about 1/3 of the time frame to actually get all the processing done as well. Okay, so next slide there. So what we're going to be talking today about is understanding the new AHPRA changes, especially for occupational therapists. But wherever I say occupational therapists, you could also transpose that to say physiotherapists or even speech pathologists and other allied health professionals as well. All right, so this is general information. We're going to talk about some specific changes, but we're happy to answer questions at the end of the presentation there as well. And I will touch on a few different things throughout the presentation, specifically for speech pathologists and physiotherapists as well. So we're going to have an introduction to AHPRA and the OTBA for Occupational Therapists Board. The changes that have been effective since October 27th, so just a couple of days ago, the 3 new streamlined pathways, and I'll give a bit of a breakdown of each one of those pathways and how that impacts on international sponsorship for you, the candidate. We'll go through some key requirements and timelines just so that you're aware of what to expect, some of the benefits and challenges as well, so that's very important information, and then we'll open the floor up for any questions, and we'll give you some details about the AusPath portal as well. So what is AHPRA and also the Occupational Therapy Board? So AHPRA is Australian Health Practitioner Regulation Agency. It's the overseas registration body for health professionals coming into Australia. AHPRA looks at the compliance and for the validation of credentials there as well. They make sure that a practitioner is fit for purpose. Okay, it's as simple as that. The Occupational Therapy Board of Australia is a specific board under AHPRA for OTs. So the key word there is under AHPRA. Right, so AHPRA is now the governing body for occupational therapists as well as physiotherapists as well. Right, so the goal there is to protect public safety while addressing the workforce shortages. And the previous process just relied on the Occupational Therapy Council to do the actual skills assessments of individuals. Okay, so as I touched on the drivers behind the changes, it's there to address workforce shortages in allied health, especially in rural areas. It reduces the paperwork, all that bureaucracy that we all love, delays in registration. As we know, the process is daunting. That is why you have a company like AusPath that is there for you to guide you every step of the way in what you actually need to do for your registration process so that you can smoothly go through the pathway to come for employment to Australia. So we do streamline for internationally qualified professionals, and we're making sure, obviously, for the Australian population as well, if that that's your destination, to maintain high safety and competency standards. All right. So, as I said, from October 27th this year, the new changes replace the old Occupational Therapy Council's managed process. So the key changes there. Qualification assessments are now handled directly by AHPRA, not the Occupational Therapy Council. It's the same with physiotherapists. The Physiotherapy Board is still there, the council, but AHPRA directly handles the assessments and the process of that now. So for occupational therapists, there are now 3 streamlined pathways for you seeking general registration. The old process there was a desktop assessment, still available up to launchable transition. So if you're in the process currently, you still complete that process. But as of the 27th, any new processes go under one of the 3 new pathways. The focus there is by going through the new pathway, it will generally take 3 to 6 months compared to 9 to 12 months. In some instances, it can be as quick as 1 month. All right. It really comes down to your documentation, how well prepared you are in making sure that you have all of your credentials, all of your documentation, everything that you need and are required to get your visa into Australia. Now, we will help you obviously with interviews and putting you in front of Australian employers for their consideration. And from there, you can receive letters of offer or contracts of employment. And that may be subject to X, Y, Z. But the more information that you have at your fingertips, the better chances that you are that an Australian employee is going to want to interview you. The AusPath portal, which we'll go through in a little bit, makes it very, very easy for you to actually compile all that information and put it together in one handy portal so that Australian employers can actually view that and go through it very quickly. The more information that you have, the better chance that you have as well. Now, AusPath can also assist you and help you along the way by giving personalised service. It is all free to join our portal, but if you do want personalised service and you want to get to the top of the list and you want to have the Australian employers really take notice of you, take advantage of our Platinum package. That is a paid package that you can do, that you'll be invited to have a look at. It's not compulsory, but it does give you an edge. Okay, so we'll go through that a little bit later as well. So introducing the new 3 streamlined pathways. One is a qualification assessment pathway. The other one is a recognised qualification pathway. And the third one is a comparable regulated pathway. So all require meeting the OTBA standards, for example, in English proficiency and criminal police checks and things like that. So nothing has really changed with that. But what they do want as a basis, most people do like IELTS or PTE or TOEFL. So we'll go through a couple of the changes in that because it is a little bit more stringent. They do that there, however, the payoff for that is that it's a quicker pathway. So pathway 1 we'll go through. The qualification assessment. So you are required to submit your qualifications for evaluation against Australian standards. So that is your school assessments, that is your qualifications, and also it comes into play that they will also want to see your competency, so practical assessments of your competencies there. So if the outcome is that it is substantially equivalent, then you go through the direct general registration path. Otherwise, you must do a practical assessment of your competency under a limited registration. You go that through maybe 3 to 6 months. It can be as little as 1 month. Once you've had some supervision under a limited registration, you can then apply for general registration. Okay, so this is administered by the Occupational Therapy Council for permanent residency applications. Okay, the second pathway is a recognised qualification, and that is if you are coming from what they call in either the physiotherapy stream or the occupational therapy stream, mutual recognised authorities. All right, and that's different countries out there. So in nursing, we have what we call Stream A, and there's different countries out there, which is usually UK, Canada, New Zealand, the US. In some instances, it can be Hong Kong, Singapore. But certain programs automatically are recognised for international qualifications. Okay, it says there in brackets within date ranges, obviously you need to have had a qualification within the last couple of years, within the last 5 years. So we'll get into that a little bit more. You need to show that you have had paid work of clinical experience, at least 12 months worth of work within the last 5 years. That hasn't changed from previously, but for a recognised qualification, they do want to see that you've actually been practicing. Okay, so if it's on the list, the countries on the list, you can apply directly for general registration. You don't need to do a detailed assessment. If you're from those countries, it's just comparable and the pathway is very, very quick. You could be in the country working within 4 to 6 weeks. It is possible. The third pathway is comparable regulator. So the Occupational Therapy Board of Australia lists some comparable overseas regulator, example the UK and Ireland. Most Commonwealth countries would be comparable, but especially UK, Ireland, US, New Zealand. If you are already qualified and registered via a listed regulator, it's going to be deemed substantially equivalent. So it's very, very similar to Pathway 2. You can apply for directly for general registration. And as I said, it promotes reciprocity, very hard to say that word, for therapists from aligned jurisdictions. Okay. Within all pathways, we do have some essential registration standards. The number one there is people will be looking at IELTS. You need to have a level of 7. All right, so you do need to have a strong level of English proficiency. If you do OET, you need a minimum grade of B in each component. If you do PTE, it can be easier, but you still need a minimum overall score of 66 with a minimum of 56 in writing. The TOEFL, which is health related, you do have to have a minimum total score of 94 with 24 in reading as a minimum in listening and 27 in writing and 20 in speaking. The new one there on the list there is Cambridge. You do need to have a minimum overall score of 185, but that includes a minimum of 176 in writing. We do strongly recommend, if you don't have your English proficiency yet, you've got to remember that it's valid for 12 months at a time. We strongly recommend using our partners 9.09er. They are excellent in giving you the review and preparation to sit these tests. Okay, so by all means, you can actually access 9.09 through the AusPath website. If you go through the Platinum package, you will get a discount. So that on its own is worth the price of the Platinum package. So it is worth your while to seek that out. As I mentioned, recency of practice is critical. You need to be able to show paid clinical experience. So if you're coming in as a speech pathologist or a physiotherapist, occupational therapist, dietitian, nutritionist, something like that, and over the last couple of years you've only been working at home or you've been doing non-paid work, it doesn't comply. You need to be able to show pay slips. You need to be able to show bank statements. If not, you don't have pay slips. And they're going to want to see a certificate of employment in most cases. Now, if you are a private practitioner and you have your own company, and we have this question that quite a lot of times coming in there, I'm my own practitioner, I have my own company, I've been working in the Philippines or in Sri Lanka or Vietnam or in the UK as under my own business. That's perfectly fine. If you have a company, then that complies. You just need to show your incorporation certificate or your certificate of business. All right. When you come to Australia as an allied health professional, you are required to have professional indemnity insurance. Now, we will advise you as AusPath if we're putting you in front of an Australian employer, because some Australian employers will actually pay for that professional indemnity insurance as a company, and then all the employers are underneath their insurance policy. However, do not be surprised if some Australian employers within an interview or as a letter of offer say that, yes, we will give you a contract of employment subject to you having your own professional indemnity insurance. That is common as well. As well as the insurance there, part of your visa requirements is there to come to Australia is that you need to maintain personal private health insurance when you come to Australia under an Australian visa. That's just a normal visa rule, so that's nothing different. Obviously, you need to have criminal or police checks. One of the requirements in there that is a little bit surprising, and we're seeking clarification, and we will put it onto our website or in other webinars, and we'll check there. It has been said that different AHPRA boards, especially the OT board and the physiotherapy board, are looking for a recent criminal police check, history check. When I say recent, they're wanting to see something that is valid within the last 3 months. Okay, Usually a police check is for 12 months. So that is just something new in there, and we'll get some more clarification on that and put that onto our website on Facebook and everything. But at the moment, for the visa, you only need 12 months. But for AHPRA's board, they want to see something within 3 months. So just be aware of that as well. The other thing there is obviously you're going to have, reference checks in there, good character, and you need to be physically fit, not just competency fit to practice as well. Okay, so some of the allied health professionals, say if you're a occupational therapist or a physiotherapist, you do need to have a level of fitness there as well. Okay, it's not a good look if you're, very, very obese and overweight, promoting healthcare as well. So, just take that into consideration. Okay, so how do these changes affect international sponsorship? Well, the whole point of it there is it could be as quick as 1 month, but generally 1 to 6 months is the average, whereas previously it was 9 to 12 months for a international sponsorship from start to finish your visa processing. All right, especially pathways 2 and 3, as we saw, they're very, very similar. It's a very quick transition to full practice eligibility for internationally qualified occupational therapists and physiotherapists and speech pathologists. Ongoing skills recognition for visas is still via the industry body, separate from your registration. That also comes into play with what we call in Australia and in other countries there is professional development. All right, so continuing professional development. So ongoing, you need to show that you're doing self-training and you're keeping up to date with valid clinical experiences and modalities and things like that. All AusPath members get 1 free year access to AusMed if they go through the Platinum package. Okay, so as part of that package, that's worth $500. The Platinum package is only worth $135, so it's very, very much in your best interest to actually look at the Platinum package there as well. You will get free access to do the Australian AusMed Aged Care Passport, which Australian employers really, really like to see that you have, because it means that you are familiar with the aged care standards in Australia as well as the general healthcare standards. So it's one of the things that the Australian employers we generally ask in an interview is, have you worked in Australia before? No. Are you familiar with the Australian healthcare standards? Right. So this is a free training program and information program for you to do that. The visas, temporary skills shortage or employer sponsored. So they need the Occupational Therapy Council approval first, but that is part and parcel of what AusPath does with our partner migration agents. So we will step you through every step of the way, the process to go through that. We do all the heavy lifting for you so that you don't have to stress and worry about that. All right. Now, why is that affecting international sponsorship? Well, mainly for the employer benefits as well. As you heard within the corporate video at the start of the presentation there, the Australian healthcare framework has a shortage of 140,000 plus skilled workers, 35,000 alone just in nursing, but the balance is out there in other allied health professionals and support workers as well. All right, so it's not just the nurses. The employer benefits by having these changes with international sponsorship pathways means a quicker workforce integration, especially in those shortage areas such as rural and regional Australia. All right. Overall benefits, reduced delays, more efficient process, we're addressing those shortages. The challenges though is challenges from non-recognised countries, main EPAC, dual applications. So we need the Occupational Therapy Council for Migration and the Therapy Board for registration. You still need to have skills assessments, all right, through the actual industry body, but the actual visa process is a lot quicker. A lot of that work can be done on the ground. So the Australian employers understand that and they are happy, and most of them will have supervising professionals for you for what they call a limited registration. So what that means is through the AHPRA board of whatever profession that you are, you'll actually be able to apply for a limited registration, and that can be for 3 to 6 months while you go through a supervisory program. As we said, generally 3 to 6 months, and then you can do it as quickly as 1 month. You do your skills assessment, you can then actually apply for full registration, for AHPRA registration. That means then that you can work autonomously as a fully registered professional in your occupation. All right. So we can't stress enough, though, to make sure as you're going through this process to make sure you prepare your documents early. The AusPath portal will certainly help you with that, and to consult with AusPath and our partner migration agents with any questions that you have at any stage of the process. So how about some timelines and application tips? Well, the application through the AHPRA portal is required, so you still need to basically register an application of interest through whatever, excuse me, whatever profession pathway that you are looking for. So you can check their different websites for the different forms, or you can ask AusPath and we will assist you. The processing, the aim there is to be realistic between 3 to 6 months. As we say, it varies by the pathway. It can be as quick as 1 month, can be up to 9 months. But generally speaking, we expect it to be between 3 to 6 months. That's including the actual visa application and lodgement and portal. Obviously, if you're already on the ground here in Australia, it's a lot quicker. If you're overseas, if you're in the UK or you're in India or Sri Lanka or in the Philippines, it's going to be a little bit longer. In the Philippines, you still need to go through the process. As I said, we are fully accredited with Filipino recruitment agents as a foreign recruitment agent ourselves, and that means that you will be required to receive an overseas employment certificate. So there is a process of that, and it's validation of paperwork, notarization and apostillment. So there is a process, and we step you every step of the way through that if you are from the Philippines. So the transitions, as we mentioned, the old process is still available for ongoing applications, but the new ones there are going to be into play from the 27th of October. So what should you be doing? Checking the AusPath website regularly, checking the AHPRA guides, and also listening into our regular webinars. We will generally have at least one webinar a month on allied health, so make sure that you're tuning in and seeing what new information comes from time to time. So especially for occupational therapists, as we said, check the website for forms, and it's pretty much the same process. For speech pathologists, for those who are looking in there are 2 pathways rather than 3. Again, you have the MRA. If you look at the bottom of that list there, the MRA is Mutual Recognised Authorities, so recognition agreement. So that's from UK, USA, Canada, Ireland, New Zealand. The Speech Pathology Association accepts your qualification automatically, and it's a very fast track if you're from those countries. The other way there for candidates, say like Hong Kong, Philippines, India, South Africa, etc., you just need to do a full assessment of your qualifications. So that just takes a little bit longer to process, usually about another 1 or 2 months more. But what you need to do is you just need to show a minimum of 1,000 clinical hours in the last 5 years. All right? Dysphagia competence and English proficiency is highly recommended and highly desired. All right? So you need to put all of your paperwork together and create a portfolio mapping your training, all right, to Australian standards. So all the information is there on the portals. We can assist you with that. But the Overseas Qualifications Competency Assessment, or the OSQCA, is a mandatory requirement for you to get all of your paperwork together if you are from any other country other than UK, US, Canada, Ireland or New Zealand. So from Hong Kong or Singapore or the Philippines, make sure you contact us to go through and get that paperwork together. It is not as stringent as, even though that sounds a lot, it is not as stringent as occupational therapists and the physiotherapists, because speech pathologists at this stage, that may change in the future, are not bound by AHPRA. They are still one of the allied health professions that are self-governed. All right. So visa processing. Generally, it's going to take you about 3 to 6 months to get your SPA recognition. 2 to 4 months is general for visa processing at any step of the way, and then deployment then is 6 to 9 months. All right, so the visa processing times, it's interesting to look at this. So you can just go to the Home Affairs website. If you Google Global Visa Processing Times, Australia, you'll get to this link and anyone can go in there. What you are looking for is the Skills in Demand visa, that's a 482 visa, and you're looking there to go under the core skills stream. All right, and you just put whatever date it is in there. If we have a look in there, we can see that in September, I think that was September the 9th, 50% of all visa applications were processed in 90 days, with 90% done in 5 months. If we go to the next slide for actually, or October, or it's missing there, I can tell you the October, as of yesterday, 50% are processed in 88 days. So it is getting better, but nothing to write home about. So generally, if you expect about 3 months processing time for at least half of them, how do you get into that 50 percentile? You need to make sure that you've got all your documentation as up to date as possible. Okay. So getting a little bit more, so how does AusPath actually assist and help you? So we assist, and wherever within these slides it says international nurses, just copy that into your memory to say whatever profession that you are. So we assist all allied health professionals in navigating the complex process of becoming employed in Australia. Most significant challenges faced are navigating the complex registration processes, understanding the Australian healthcare system and finding employment. So we also offer other helpful services that help with registration, job placement and cultural orientation. You need to feel comfortable when you're coming to Australia. So we are your advocates in Australia and we can assist you with orientation once you're in Australia. You'll never be left on your own to fumble through the system. Next slide. So we've aligned with Australian chaplaincy services that are in line with your culture and needs as well. All right, so if you're from Filipino, we do have a lot of chaplaincy and diaconate through the Australian Deacons Network. If you're coming from the UK, if you're coming from Muslim countries as well, we certainly can help you. So we assist you with everything you need when you come to Australia, including setting up your local bank accounts, procuring those insurances such as professional indemnity and health insurance, assisting with setting up superannuation, and also regional area community engagements. So for those who do not know about superannuation, superannuation is over and above your salary. It's a compulsory retirement fund that all Australian employers must contribute to on your behalf. The current rate is 12%. So if you earned $1,000 a week, they need to pay 12% over and above that every week into a retirement fund. You cannot touch that until you retire, or if you left Australia, there's some conditions where you can cash it out. If you don't know what superannuation is, we strongly recommend that you go to AusPath's YouTube channels and have a look at our webinar specifically on that. But it is basically free money for you for your retirement. You can't access it now. It's only at age 67 in Australia, or if you worked in Australia for a couple of years, and then you decided to leave Australia, yeah, you can cash it out, but you'll never be allowed to come and work again in Australia ever again. One and done. It's for your retirement. That's what it's for. So have a look into it at our webinars. Very interesting because it is a great incentive to come to Australia than other countries. US do have a similar scheme called their 401k, but the Australian superannuation is very, very generous at 12% rate. So benefits of Australia, you can register not just as a nurse, but as any allied professional from a drop-down list when you go to crm.auspath.agency. It's free to join. It's a unique online members portal, and this is your own personal advertisement to Australian employers. You can go in there at any time in the future and update your details. You can answer some questions, upload your files, just with one click and submit. So once approved, that usually takes around about 48 hours. We create you a members portal and you can go in and out of that portal at any time. So members portal tracks your progress and also allows potential employers to see your application. Once you enter as a member in our members portal, you'll automatically be sent relevant information regularly on your profession, on what the next steps are for you to progress, to allow potential employers to see your application. It tracks it through there and we will be in touch with you very quickly to offer you an introductory interview just to go through so that we know who you are. We can actually go through your credentials and validate you. If there's an Australian employer that we think matches your credentials immediately, we will put you in front of them very quickly. So there's no need to sift through countless job offers, make numerous applications by going online and trying to find, advertisements. We match you with Australian employers, all right, and then we set up interviews online with you. So if you're a match, then you receive an employment offer subject to AHPRA registration and visa approvals if required. Obviously, as mentioned, you need to have a valid English literacy and clear police check. All right. So we did mention the Platinum package. So all AusPath members also get a chance to access our Platinum package. So we have access to premium listings, professional CV writing services, dynamic video profiles. We do training, interview coaching, and the value is truly unparalleled. So all Platinum members unlock massive savings on essential certifications, such as NCLEX, OSCE, CPR training, complimentary access to Ultimate CPD points program, a full suite of training modules. That's 1,275 online modules and certifications that are valid for the compulsory CPD points. You need to have 100 points a year. So you can do a course and that might be worth 25 points or something like that. So you do actually need to go through to do and prove that you're doing continuing professional development. All right, so this is a great opportunity. We've been managed to get over, I think, Les, was it 69,000 pesos worth for like under 5,000 pesos. So please go through, have a look at the Platinum package inside the members portal to get those offers. The membership portal, as I said there, if you click on the bottom left-hand corner there, Rachel, on the screen under categories, there's a play button on that slide. It will actually show. Oh, that's right. You just go through. Anyway, once you go through, you'll just go to the dashboard. You click on the link there, join now, and your professional identity, elevate your professional identity to its peak. So obviously there it says nurses on the page there. You would obviously just check the allied health professional, and then from the drop-down list you can choose your profession. Very quick and easy to do there. Okay, there's the slide. I don't know why it's out of order, but as you can see, October processing times 82 days, so it's a little bit quicker. Every month it seems to be getting a little bit quicker all the time. Okay, so as I said, please register for free at crm.auspath.agency, and if there's any questions, I'm happy to answer them now for you. Rachel, you had some questions yourself as well?
Yeah, thank you for that valuable information that you have shared, Frank. This is very important for allied professionals who are planning to step up their career in Australia. And we're very thankful that we have received the new updates coming from AusPath agency, coming from you through this webinar at this time. So I'd like to encourage our viewers and our audience, if you have any questions, feel free to write the questions in the comment section here in our Facebook Live session so that our CEO Les and our Managing Director Frank and Ferdorben can be able to provide us answers to your questions. So feel free to write in your comments or questions via the comment section. I'd like also, while waiting for your questions, if you have any, I'd like to encourage everybody as well to go through our website, the OSPath Agency's website, so that you can be able to log in and be able to sign up in our portal so that you'll be able to advertise yourself to the employers the moment that you are already planning to apply for the opportunities in Australia. So if ever that you have questions, we will be waiting for your questions. Feel free to comment if you have
So
any.
just to, yep. So while we're waiting for those to come through, so just to let you know that AusPath, obviously, we've been working with the nurses there. We do a lot of work with allied health. Immediately at the moment, we are looking for over 50 occupational therapists and speech pathologists and over 100 physiotherapists. So whoever is basically going to get their information, their credentials, validated credentials, their paperwork together is going to have the best opportunity, because those placements will fill quickly. We do have a lot of inquiries coming in, but we do want to see professional allied health professionals that have relevant clinical experience applying as quickly as possible. Now, if you think that you don't quite have enough there or anything like that, experience or anything like that, by all means, still join. Come through. You get the benefit of going through the process, and then we can actually help you to assist you go through a pathway. All right. There are Australian employers that are desperate to have good quality employees, and they're happy to put some staff on training pathways as well. All right. So some of these pathways will not lead to permanent residency just on its own, but what they do is they allow you to get that experience that you need. Remember, you need 12 months experience within the last 5 years. All right. So if you've had breaks within in your experience in that, you can actually come in some pathways to Australia and just work for 3 months, 6 months, 12 months just to get your numbers up for experience. And from there, you can actually apply then, or the employers will actually give you sponsorship that could lead to permanent residency. So we have Muffy there. I'm an OT, 14 years experience with all the process from registration and visa. I'd like to ask if it's possible for me to seek a role in regional areas in South Australia through DARMA. Absolutely. Yeah. So it's not just South Australia. There are 12 DARMA areas in Australia, all of Western Australia and all of South Australia's DARMA area as well. There are some areas in regional New South Wales and Victoria as well. Now, South Australia, through this SA Health Network, they are desperately looking for occupational therapists. All right, so your chances of becoming an occupational therapist in South Australia is very, very high. Why would Muffy also be asking for a DARMA area? DARMA areas come with the added bonus of age concession. All right, so generally in Australia, you have a cut-off point at 45 years old. In DARMA areas, that can, if the employer has applied for it, they can have an age concession, which means that they can actually employ people up to the age of 55. Okay, and then that can lead to permanent residency. So that is a great question, Muffy. Thank you very much for that. But yes, by all means, please register as quickly as possible because we have South Australian employers that are looking for occupational therapists right now, especially one with 14 years of experience. I guarantee you they'd be very interested in talking to you, and I would too. Okay.
So Frank, this occupational therapist doesn't have to be in a DARMA area though. DARMA is more...
Doesn't have to be, but if they wanted to be in a regional, in South Australia, it is possible. We also have, I'll just give you an example, in Victoria, in Ballarat, in central New South Wales, and in Western Australia. We have metropolitan areas there as well. So if it's because of age, then yeah, DARMA makes sense. But, you could also have offers coming in from metropolitan areas as well. But maybe Muffy's already done a little bit of research in there and knows that, especially in regional areas in South Australia, there are some very good incentives from some of the employers in those areas, especially through the SA Health Network.
Oh, yeah.
There you go. Maybe said it's because of age. So, yeah, we saw that coming.
Yeah.
Very good.
With regards to the age requirement, Frank and Les, is there a specific limit to the age with regards to the application of these allied professionals?
You need to take into consideration that it's going to take a couple of years that you must work to get permanent residency. All right. So whilst it is possible, say in a Dharma area, to be employed up to the age of 55, I would probably suggest that you would have a better chance at age 53. Okay. Now, saying that because if you still need to wait at least 15 months, even if you do self-application for permanent residency, but you still need to be working for 3 years before you can apply anyway. Okay. So really, whilst the age cutoff is 55, you have to work back from that for the stage. So 52, 53 is going to be pretty much the threshold, I would say. Saying that as well, it's also at the other end of the scale. If you're 20, 21 years old, maybe you need to make sure that you're not just come straight out of school as a grad student. All right. Yes, as I said, there are opportunities, but to have a visa for sponsorship that leads to permanent residency, you need to show 12 months minimum. Okay. So if you're a grad student and then coming into applying for it, you would probably be under the area of a trainee visa. So even though you've graduated, you'd still need to be under maybe a 407 visa or something like that would allow you to get those hours, on the books under your belt first, and then to show, yep, I've done my 12 months postgraduate, and then I can apply for a permanent residency visa. So both ends of the age bracket, you need to be aware of how that sits. Now that's what AusPath is here for. Individually, we will go through your individual requirements and where you stand with it and give you solutions. And if we can't, we're going to tell you honestly and frankly why. Okay.
In regards to examination, Frank, because for nurses through the OB pathway, there's NCLEX, and after that, there's OSCE. With regards to allied professionals, are there other examinations that they need to sit for apart from
Sure.
being a graduate of occupational therapies and these
Yep.
other allied professions?
So let's discuss, for example, the physiotherapy pathway. All right, the physiotherapy pathway is an international, say you're in the Philippines, there is a two-step pathway for skills assessment and validation. One is that you do an online examination, okay? And once you've approved that, you are then required to come to do a one-day workshop in Melbourne. It's the only place in Australia that you can come to do that. From that assessment, they will go through that one-day workshop, and they will identify what they believe are your weak points. From there, they will want to see an employer address those weak points in a training program, on the job training over 3 to 6 months. All right. Now, as I said, if you are very competent, you've got a lot of experience to come back through, you could potentially just do the workshop. They say, yep, you're fully compliant. Everything's in there. Really, all you need to do is now just go through the process of registration, and that can take 4 to 6 weeks. So as I said, it can be as little as 1 month. You could come on shore 1 month later, you're fully registered working. All right. So depending on that score that you get for the online examination is going to pretty much determine how we're going to go just for the one-day workshop. Now, the one-day workshop, it's not an examination, it's just a one-day assessment of your skills to show any weaknesses. But if you have really good experience, that is very simple to do. It's just compulsory part of it, but it means a much faster pathway in there. So you can do a lot of this preparation work before you come to Australia. All right. If you've been working already practicing for many years and you can prove that and you have all your documentation ready, say for occupational therapists, you can actually submit that. All right. And that would then help with the process there as well. Then you do your skills assessment and away you go. It's limited registration to full, same type of way. If you're a speech pathologist, that is the pathway. You have to actually, unless you're coming from one of those countries that have the mutual recognition there, You just need to show all of your competencies and all your skills and submit that as a portfolio. That gets assessed. It takes, I think it looked in there, it said 2 to 3 months, but we know it's between 6 to 8 weeks generally. All right, you'll get a result, get a reply back, everything, and then they will actually say, yep, you qualify for assessment. So then you go through the visa process and then go through. But the actual registration component to be there can be, within 2 to 3 months in most cases. That's actually pretty quickly compared to the 9 to 12 months what it used to take.
Thank you for that information, Frank. What I like about Australia is that the processing timeframes are just a very quick compared to other countries. So this is a really very advantageous and very beneficial for all applicants who are considering to start their application so that they can work in Australia later on. Muffy is mentioning, I will consider starting my application for registration under the new pathway in AHPRA.
Excellent. No, we're looking forward to talking to you, Muffy.
Les, would you like to add anything or mention anything to our viewers here in Facebook?
Absolutely. Thanks, Rachel. Look, definitely if you're an occupational therapist or a speech pathologist or a physiotherapist, we have got huge demand. Get on our portal, register now, read all our blog posts. You'll learn exactly what you need to do. The information's there step by step. Rewatch this webinar. We'll have it up on YouTube later, but highly encourage you to do exactly what Muffy Lucas is doing, is to start the application straight away. Make sure you're doing your English test, and getting that done, because without that you can't come and you've got to pass that. And if you pass that, that's a big stepping stone that the employer's going to look at and go, oh, well, he's done his English test, he passed it, fantastic, because obviously you're going to pass your crim check and health checks, all that sort of stuff is all just pretty basic after that. So make sure you start the application process, if it's through the Occupational Therapy Board or with Speech Pathologists Association or through AHPRA. Just
Therapy Board, AHPRA. Yep.
Yeah, start your application and get it all going, because you'll be one step ahead of everybody else if you do that. And we've got huge demand now.
Yeah.
And so pretty much if
the journey of 1,000 steps starts with a single step.
1,000 miles.
1,000 miles.
1,000 miles to Australia from the Philippines, or something.
It's about that.
Yeah.
So one of the other things there, one of the questions I'm surprised that people haven't put through there, but one of the questions that we often get asked is, well, how much can I earn as an allied health professional in Australia? So generally speaking, depending on your experience, speech pathologists, occupational therapists, physiotherapists, they're in great demand in Australia. So employers are willing to pay over what the normal market rate is, especially in regional areas and rural areas, those Dharma areas especially as well. So that can be an incentive for you. But generally speaking, you're going to be earning between about 3.7 to 4.6 million pesos a year. All right? That is between 95,000 to 110,000 Australian dollars a year. And don't forget that you also get 12% above that. So that could be 500-600 thousand pesos a year in a retirement package as well.
Yeah, one of our employees is offering 5 weeks a year annual
5
leave.
weeks a year annual leave, correct?
And plus on top of that, you get about 20 days, isn't it, a year?
Yeah.
Public
So
holidays, weekends.
So you get 10, Australian Fair Work Australia rules is that you get 10 days sick leave, paid sick leave per annum, because all positions for international sponsorship are full-time, it's full-time employment. There's no casual or part-time employment rules for sponsorship. So you get Fair Work Australia rules come into play. So you get 10 days paid sick leave, 10 days unpaid personal leave. You get generally between 10 to 12, depending on what state you're in. You get between 10 to 12 public holidays, paid public holidays a year as well. Full-time work in Australia is considered to be 38 hours a week, and your base salary is what we call for morning shift, so daytime shift. If you're asked to work on a public holiday, on a weekend, an afternoon shift or an evening shift, you get what they call penalty rates. So you get over and above again. So time and a half, double time, triple time. All right. So we just placed a physiotherapist today that is on a rate of over $50 an hour, Australian. Right. That's pretty average for an allied health professional. Now, if she works on a public holiday, she gets about $100 an hour. Okay. If she works on a weekend, it could be, time and a half, $75 an hour to $80 an hour, things like that. I think if you work Christmas Day, I don't know who would, but if you're asked to, you might get like $300 an hour or something like that. So there are different incentives for what they call penalty rates that the employers pay as well over and above your salary rate. So it's not just your salary rate, and you're getting your superannuation as well. Your superannuation is always based on the base rate salary, not the overs. Okay, so just be aware of that. But it is great incentive. You also have the capability, if you are working for government employers, generally what you will find is your base rate may be a little bit lower, so it might be like 85 to 95 instead of 95 to 110, but you get different taxation benefits. Okay, so you have what's known as salary sacrificing benefits and things like that that have an equivalency of a higher rate. All right, and it's just a different ways of saving tax. At the end of the day, you just have more money in your pocket. So I think that's probably the perfect way to end up today. Is we're right on time. So for once, there, Rachel, it's fantastic. And I do thank everyone that has joined in the audience today. And we will actually have a recording of this webinar over the next couple of days put into onto our YouTube channel as well as our Facebook feeds there as well. So afterwards, especially on the Facebook channel, if you have any other questions, please feel free to reach out to us there. But as well, what we really encourage everyone to do is to join through our portal. It is free. Take advantage of the Platinum package if you think so. It's definitely worth it, especially for the video profiles, the CV resume auditing, and the individual interview coaching that we provide you as well as the CPD program that you get 1 year full access to, and all the other discounts and benefits that you get through there. So thank you once again. I'll hand you back to Rachel, and good evening or good afternoon, everyone.
With that compensation, benefits, and incentives that you have mentioned, Les and Frank, I know that all allied professionals will be seeing this webinar, will be very encouraged to get started on their application for their Australian career. Thank you so much, Frank and Les, for your expertise and for your time, and truly for sharing your knowledge to all our Facebook Live viewers. And also, I'd like to thank everybody who are with us up until this point. Thank you so much for your time. And we look forward to seeing you again on our next webinars here in AusPath Agency. If you haven't followed our Facebook page, please don't forget to follow, and as well as our YouTube account in AusPath Agency, so that you will be updated on the latest updates for your international applications as a medical professional who wants to step up their career in the promising land of Australia. Thank you so much, everyone, and we look forward to seeing you again on our next webinars. Bye for now.
Bye-bye, everyone. Thank you.